Hello everyone, and welcome to a little guide that I was asked to do, and I'm always welcome to, for getting Cortex Command to work with mods on the Steam version. I will be doing a separate version for the community project as well, although that one is actually going to be much more straightforward. Also, I'm just going to click this little yes icon down here. I'm not going to... Oh no. I need to add description. Crabs. There you go. Damn you. Now, if you go onto the Steam Workshop and then download a bunch of mods, for example, let's just go for the most popular in 6 months, whatever, doesn't really matter. And let's grab, for example, this one, the Empire Francais mod, and you were to subscribe to it. Now, if you were to go ahead and launch the game now, which I won't really bother doing just yet, you will find that the mod isn't there. And you will have no in-game, means in-game of putting that mod to use. The way you do it is a bit complicated and annoying, but it is not that difficult once you figure it out. For whatever reason, the mods for Cortex Command don't really go where they're supposed to go on the Steam version. Of course, it's difficult for the mod to go right where it needs to be, because it technically needs to be in the game folder, which is not how the workshop works. But it's even more strange than that. So in order to find your mods, you will have to go into your Steam folder. So let's go to Steam. And if you were to look for mods in general, you'll be going to Steam Apps, you'll be going to Workshop, Content, and then you have your games, and you would have your mods in here. But you will note that, well, obviously, if I open these up, you would find that none of these three are the Cortex Command folder. That's because it kind of doesn't really work like that, doesn't really exist, because it all goes down into user data. And boy, is it difficult to find what you need in here, right? One thing that can help us is that we have this mod name, we have Francais, right? I'm assuming that's, well, let's see. It's probably this one right here, empire2018.rte. That's most likely the mod we're looking for. And all of the mods for Cortex Command have this at the end of them. They have .rte. So if I go into open folder location, this is where our mod is. If I were to click and open it all, you would see that, oh, look at that, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Now, if I go back, you'll find that this is workshop mods, and it's the only thing in this folder. I go back, and that's the only thing in that folder. It's all in here. All in these temp. I have the Brotherhood, I think it's Brotherhood of Nod mod over here, and this over here is multiple sclerosis. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's a mod. Now, in order to get those mods into your game, the quickest way to get to your Cortex Command folder is to just what Danganronpa, what are you doing? You need to go to Manage and to go to Browse Local Files, and there you go. You see is your folder right here, and all the game data is stored in folders just like this, including the base data and the base game factions are all stored in these .rte folders. So, in order to get yours where they need to be, the solution is pretty straightforward from this point on. One thing you can do to make your life easier is, instead of looking up specific mods, for example, if you've downloaded a billion different mods, you simply search .rte in this folder, and look at that. All of your mods here are, well, here. Now, one thing is that these are all zipped up files. So, once you move them to here, you need to also go ahead and extract them all as well. It takes a little while, because even though the files are very small, there's quite a lot of them usually, but once you're done with that, you'll see that we have this folder here. One thing to keep in mind, and it's going to be the case with pretty much all these mods, is this is actually the folder you want. You don't want it to be a folder deeper than that, so I'm just going to Control V over this one, and there you go, all of our files are where they need to go. And of course you can also just, let's say, open this in a new window. Here it is, and I just drag and drop that into the folder here, and that is going to be an even more straightforward way of having the mods go where they need to be. Now, if I were to launch Cortex Command, and it will take usually a bit longer on the first launch after you add some mods because it has to like extract some files or whatever. And one thing it has actually done, which is another very wonderful and useful thing, is that during that process, it has actually extracted the mods that were also just in these zip files. So, that's pretty useful. It can sometimes be a bit more reliable to do the process of copying over, but it's also just something you can do if this automatic process provided by Cortex Command doesn't work for whatever reason. And now, if we were to look in our mod manager, you would see that all of these mods we have just added have been, in fact, added. You can enable or disable any of them from this here menu, and it is just as straightforward as that. One last thing is that the resolutions on this game can be quite complicated, and it might be best to just toy around with files and look up specific instructions for your specific resolution online, because the game is not really made for a lot of them. As you can see, for example, going full screen in this resolution that I have here has shifted everything to the side. That is no bueno. I will also add that to record this version of Cortex Command with OBS, I cannot use full screen at all, and I do genuinely just record it in this little small window option right here. This is how the game looks for me every time I record it. I've gotten quite used to it though. And of course all resolution changes require restarting, so it is just worth playing around and seeing what works for you. Other than that, everything else should be pretty straightforward. If you go scenario battle, you can pick what kind of mission you want to do, and of course every time you add modded missions and modded activities, those get added to whatever list is over here. A lot of the time, you will see something like this crop up in the top right corner when it is a modded map, which the Cortex Command's default system doesn't recognize, and it will just show off as this static image. But that doesn't mean that the mod isn't going to work. That just means that it's, well, something that's not in the base game. If you want to do one of these metagames, you would of course go up here to the campaign. You don't have to play the tutorial, but I do suggest it if it's your first time, and then you can do your settings and play a game from there. Now, if you have any other specific questions, I would love to hear them in the comments. If you have any difficulties during this process that I haven't explained, do ask, and I will see you in the next video, where we're gonna be playing some games.